Good evening and welcome back to Talk Local. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about Bill 106, a new Condominium Services Act that is aimed at protecting condominium owners in Ontario. Now on the show with us is Mark and Jane was sharing her experience with us. And Mark, before the break, we were talking about what this act could mean. Good, bad, pros, cons for Ontario condo owners, condo tenants, landowners. Tell us more about that.
Sure, I'll give you an example. Currently, the legislation, as you talked about earlier, requires mediation in certain circumstances.
Right, and in Jane's situation, that didn't happen.
Now, the problem is it stops short, where it says you have to mediate, but it offers zero guidance as to how you go about mediating.
Really?
So what happens is, if somebody doesn't want to mediate, it's very easy for them to try to manipulate the process. I've come across situations where, for example, if somebody doesn't really want to mediate, they'll propose mediators who charge $1,000 an hour, and that's the only mediator that's good enough. So they can manipulate not doing it.
That's insane.
Now, currently, the only thing that we have to help with that have been the courts. The courts lately have turned around and looked at the path people have taken to get to court and penalized them, whether they were required to mediate or not, if they haven't tried that kind of conciliatory approach first.
Okay.
What we're hoping this new legislation is going to do is provide guidance for a process. Because if you think about it, if you're in a conflict with somebody and you're told you have to mediate, and you're not given anything further, the first thing you have to do is agree with them about something. If you're given a set process of what you're supposed to do, forms you have to fill out, how it works,
things that you're supposed to be bringing with you,
it would make it a lot easier for people to do what they're supposed to be doing and mediate. In situations where we have mediation taking place too late or not at all, it ends up being very costly for people, and it ends up being a lot more of a drawn-out process than it really needs to be if mediation is used as an appropriate tool.